Once you figure out that the news is scripted and planned out in advance, it changes the way you think and feel about pretty much everything. You'll notice one news organization is reading the same script as the next news organization. You'll notice if you watch the nightly news, it seems like they're reading the same script, sometimes word for word. That's because they are.
Be extra cautious while looking for health information in the Twitterverse.
Be extra cautious while looking for health information in the Twitterverse.
Be extra cautious while looking for health information in the Twitterverse.
Be extra cautious while looking for health information on the Twitterverse.
Be extra cautious while looking for health information on the Twitterverse.
Be extra cautious while looking for health information in the Twitterverse.
Be extra cautious while looking for health information on Twitter.
And if you look at all the major news events over the last 100 years, let's say, it's all been scripted and planned out well in advance, such as man landing on the moon. That's a scripted, planned out event. JFK, another scripted, planned out event. The buildings coming down on September 11th. Another scripted, planned out event. Now let's go more recent. You got Epstein and all of those wonderful files. Yeah, scripted, planned out. Charlie, the Charlie Kirk incident. Who could forget about that? Yeah, scripted, pre-planned. So when you take away these scripted events, what you have is a relatively uneventful place that we live in. Think about that. All the major events which shape the way most everyone you know thinks and feels, most all of these events are scripted and planned out well in advance. So if you take away the script, act as though these events never took place because they were manufactured, and then you look at what you have. Well, you don't have man walking on the moon. You don't have buildings in New York being attacked by terrorists. You don't have a president being assassinated. You don't have the Epstein files. You don't have Charlie Kirk. So when you take away all those scripted, planned out events, you have a relatively uneventful place that we live in. So when you look at the people who believe in these manufactured events, which is pretty much 99.9999999% of everyone, because let's be honest, we're all surrounded by sheeple pretty much everywhere. These people believe in all of these planned out scripted events. And so all of their thoughts and experiences as far as these events are concerned are completely controlled by the men who scripted and planned these events. So for instance, I see people arguing online over these Epstein files and who went to Epstein's island and who didn't, and what supposedly happened on his island, and what these implications mean, when you realize it's nothing but a scripted event and you can't verify any of it, well then it changes the way you should think and feel about these events, because the reality is they don't have any impact on your actual life. And they are specifically designed to elicit an emotional response out of you. So if they can get you to think and feel some certain way over things that supposedly happened on some elitist island, they can control what you are thinking about and how you feel about these events. They can quite literally control the time that you are wasting. They can control what you're thinking about while you waste your time. And not just Epstein, but also the Charlie Kirk incident. There is tens of millions of people still talking about this, going over all these different conspiracy theories in their mind about Erica Kirk and her involvement in the supposed death of her husband. If you take all that away, because that is another planned, scripted event, so when you take that away, all the emotion goes away with it. So if we look at some other recently scripted events, like the Alex Pretty shooting and the Renee Good shooting, it manufactured all of this outrage because people think that citizens are being killed by ICE agents, and so they manufacture protests, they manufacture outrage, they manufacture hatred. If you take away that script, then you remove the manufactured hatred, you remove the manufactured outrage, and what do you have? A relatively uneventful place. So all of these major psychological operations that are designed to elicit an emotional response from you, when you take away their power and you realize that those events are scripted and planned out ahead of time, suddenly they don't have the emotional effect on you. For instance, none of these events can get me emotionally triggered because I know that it's planned out ahead of time, in some cases planned out years in advance. And these events are specifically designed to get you to be emotionally triggered. So, once you figure out that the news is a scripted television show, then it's easy to remove the emotional response that they want to get from you. And just in case anyone's wondering, I'm out here pulling double duty, filming a video and doing a dog walk at the same time. Killing two birds with one stone. That's my beagle right there. His name's Ralphie. He's a little over a year old, and he loves to walk and loves to play. He's a good pup. You a good pup, Ralph? You good pup, Ralph? Is Ralph a good pup? So really, when I think about history, I think about manufactured and staged events. So in my mind, history is relatively uneventful when you take away the manufactured, scripted events that they prepared for us. So they get us to think that these historical events took place naturally, occurred organically. And so by them scripting these events, they can control what we perceive as our own history. Imagine being able to control what the majority of the masses believe happened over the course of their lifetime and before they were alive. That's exactly what's going on. The mainstream media, which is controlled by the government, can shape and control what you think about all the events that have happened in your life and before you were alive. So once you figure out that those events were scripted and planned out, manufactured, then what do you have? You have a history that you don't even really know about. History becomes a question mark. You have to admit that everything you thought you knew about all these events was a lie, and then you have to try and figure it out for yourself. So I've been in this position for several years now where I don't really know historically what went on before I was born, and I know they lied to me about most all the historical events that have happened since I've been born. So what am I left with? I'm left with a world I have to try and figure out for myself, knowing that most everything I've ever learned was a lie. There's millions of men out there who care more about whether their favorite professional football team wins or loses, rather than anything that goes on the world stage. There's men out there who care way more about who their team is going to draft, more so than the scripted events taking place. And of course, when you look at sports, all the professional sports games are also scripted. So the biggest sporting event of the year in America is, of course, the Super Bowl. And the Super Bowl is a scripted event. It's planned in advance. And yet you have millions and millions of diehard sports fans who plan their whole life around a product that is designed to beat sports gamblers and is totally scripted and phony. So not only is politics scripted and phony, and the major events that happen on the world stage are scripted and phony. If you're not into that sort of stuff and you care more about sports, well, they got you either way, because the sports are scripted and phony as well. In fact, if you enjoy watching sports, the only real sport you can go watch and enjoy would be like your child playing a Little League baseball game. Maybe you have a son who plays some high school football. That's about the only real sporting events that you can go watch and enjoy anymore. Anything with a betting line is going to be rigged and scripted every time, no exceptions. So I got to thinking the other day, if I would have never woke up to the fact that the news is scripted, I would be walking around with thoughts about all these events in my head that they planned out. I would be feeling emotions about all these different psychological operations that never actually happened for real. So if I would have never woke up to the truth, I would be walking around believing nothing but bullshit right now, and it would be affecting how I think and feel.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.